In this video, we're going to show you how to install the brake flex hose on your Toyota Camry located behind your front wheels. Using our 21mm socket, we're going to loosen and remove the lug nuts. Remove the wheel and set it aside. We're going to use our 14mm socket to remove this bolt. This bolt holds the flex hose as well as the ABS line. Remove that bolt, set it aside, and we're just going to go ahead and separate these here from the strut. Now we want to go ahead and separate the hard line up here from the flex hose. Now there's a bracket right here. There's a locking tab right here. We're going to pop that out. And there's a 10mm nut right here that we need to loosen to separate the hard line from the flex hose. Before we do that, I'm going to use a pair of plastic pliers here. And we use this here to basically just pinch this line. And that'll stop the fluid from running out the rest of the way once we get to the other end of the flex line. Now I'm going to use a pair of pliers to go ahead and work our locking tab off. And we call this a horseshoe tab. And it's shaped like a horseshoe. Set that aside. We're going to be reusing that. Now earlier we had sprayed this down with some rust penetrant, and the flex hose itself locks into this steel bracket. So if you pull this down, it's free, but if you push it up, it actually fits into a keyed position on that bracket. And that's going to help when we go to loosen this line. We're going to use our open end wrench and break this free. Now we are going to lose brake fluid from here, so it's good if you have a catch can or a bucket underneath to catch the brake fluid so it doesn't drip out all over the floor. There is a little bit of debris around the nut here. I'm going to spray this down. Try and clean off that debris. We don't want to get that into our brake system. It may get to the point where you can just reach up here and spin it off by hand. There it is. We're now separated. Let's follow this flex hose down to the back side of our caliper down here, and we're going to go ahead and loosen and remove that. Now we're going to use our 14mm socket. Go ahead and pull this out. Now there is a little bracket here that creates a washer on either side. Let's go ahead and remove that hose. Before installing the flex hose, it's best to go ahead and replace the horseshoe shaped gasket on the flex hose end here before installing it onto the caliper. Go ahead and take your flex hose here, install the bolt. You're going to line up the pin here on the back side and get that bolt started. Make sure that pin lines up on the back side. Now I'm just gently going to snug this. All right, let's go ahead and install the upper portion of the line. Let's go ahead and bring our flex hose around. I'm going to line this up with that hard line, and we want to thread that into it. You always want to start threading this by hand. Never put a wrench on it to start tightening it. You don't want to cross thread that. Thread it down as far as you can. And we'll go ahead and just snug it down gently. Now we do want to make sure that our flex line goes up into the bracket and locks in. So if you see a gap between the base here and the plate, it's not lined up yet. You want to line that up so it pops into place. There it is. And then we can go ahead and continue to tighten the hard line. What that does is it actually stabilizes that flex hose on the bottom. So you can go ahead and tighten it. Make sure that's good and tight. I'm going to go ahead and spray this down with solvent to clean up all that brake fluid. Brake fluid is corrosive, so you want to make sure that you clean this thoroughly. Anywhere that you might have seen brake fluid drip, spray it and clean it. We're going to be doing the same for the back side of the caliper as well. Make sure you clean that as well. Now I want to go ahead and take your horseshoe clip. Make sure that the little lock tab is facing upward. Pop this up into place. And there's a little groove. When you push this up, there's a little groove that this fits into. And I'm going to make it nice and easy. Just going to grab a small hammer. Tap that on. We're all set here. It's going to torque down our bolt here to 12 foot-pounds. Now that that's torqued, don't forget to spray that down with some spray solvent and clean that up. And wipe that down. Let's install our lines here. First goes the ABS. Pop that into place. And then on top get stacked the flex hose. Install that bolt. Get it started a couple threads, and then we'll snug it down. Now at this point here, you want to go ahead and proceed to the brake bleeding process for the vehicle. Now at this point here, we want to go ahead and gravity bleed our brake system. With the wheel turned out a little bit, go ahead and locate the bleeder screw. Ours has a rubber cap on it. Go ahead and pop that off. If you don't have the rubber cap, it is not detrimental to the operation of the brakes. You can use an 8mm or a 5/16 box wrench or open end wrench. And we want to go ahead and crack this open by turning it counterclockwise. Now what we're looking for here is a solid stream of fluid, and we want to burp out any air bubbles. So let this run for a short time. Watch for air bubbles to come out. Once you confirm there's no more air bubbles coming out, go ahead and tighten this down. Go ahead and snug it down gently. Make sure you use some spray solvent. Go ahead and clean up any of the residual brake fluid. Brake fluid is corrosive, so you want to make sure that you clean it all up. Now you want to hop into the vehicle, pump up the brakes. Make sure that the brake pedal feels nice and firm. If it still feels soft and spongy, repeat this process until that pedal feels firm. If you still can't get it to get firm, you now want to proceed to the brake bleeding process for the entire vehicle. Install a rubber cap if you have it. Install your wheel, and you're all set. Install the wheel. Let's go ahead and get all of our lug nuts started. Once we have them all started, we'll come on back and snug them down. Let's go ahead and snug them down. Do not over tighten. Let's now go ahead and torque down our lug nuts to 76 foot-pounds. I prefer to do this in a crisscross pattern. And you're all set. Now with the hood open, you can go ahead and locate your master cylinder right here. It's on the driver's side part of the firewall. Now before we open up this cap here, we want to go ahead and spray it down with some spray solvent. And the purpose of doing this here is we want to make sure if there's any debris around the top here, we don't want it to fall down inside. Give that a wipe down. Go ahead and grab that cap, open that up. Now some of these vehicles will have a little filter inside. There it is, just little tabs there. Gonna set that aside. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this vacuum unit right here. You can use like a turkey baster, but our goal is to go ahead and pull out the existing fluid that is inside the reservoir. I'm gonna pull this out and put that into another container. We want to continue this process till we have as much of that fluid out as we can get. Now at this point here, our unit is about as empty as we can get it. We're gonna grab our little filter screen here, line that up, and we're gonna push that down inside. Now we wanna go ahead and top this off with our DOT3 or a DOT3 fluid. Now, because we're going to be bleeding the brakes, we can go ahead and overfill this a little bit. We have a full line on here, which is right up at the top here. We're going to put a little bit in there because we're going to be pulling out some fluid as we go. Go ahead and grab that cap and pop it on. Let's now go ahead and start our brake bleeding process. Now we're going to go ahead and start our brake bleeding process. Now on this particular vehicle, we're going to start with our right rear wheel. We're going to proceed over to the left front, or the driver's side front. Then we're going to come back to the driver's side rear, or the left rear, and finish up at the right front, the passenger side front wheel. Now we have someone inside the vehicle that's going to help us pump up that brake and hold that pressure while we go ahead and open up these lines and purge out any air in that system. We're going to go ahead and open up this rubber cap, or remove this rubber cap first. Just going to use a pair of pliers and pop this off. If your vehicle does not have that rubber cap, it's not the end of the world. And we're going to use a 5/16 wrench on this little bleeder screw here. And we're just going to crack that open just a little bit. Okay, it's free. Now we have our reservoir here with our vent tube. This is going to take that fluid. I'm going to press this on. All right, we're going to have that person inside the vehicle. Go ahead and pump up the brakes about 3 to 4 times and hold it. All right, and while they're holding pressure, I'm going to open this up. All right, so it's gone to the floor inside. We're going to close that. Go ahead and pump it up. Now what we're looking for here is air bubbles coming through this hose here. And one more time. We're getting a solid stream of fluid here, which is excellent. Now at this point here, we can go ahead and pull this hose off, remove our wrench. I want to go ahead and make sure that this is pretty snug. Now if you happen to have that rubber cap, go ahead and pop that back into place. If you dribble any brake fluid, go ahead and use some spray solvent. Clean up any of that drippage on the caliper itself. Clean it all up because brake fluid is corrosive. So we want to make sure that this is all clean and protected. I want to go ahead and do this process on the left front. Now we have the person inside the vehicle and went ahead and cranked out our wheel so we have better access to the bleed screw here on the left front wheel. We're going to repeat the process. If you have the little rubber cap, go ahead and pull that off. Set that aside. We do want to take our wrench and make sure that this is broken free. And there it is. I'm going to hook up our hose here to bleed. All right, why don't you go ahead and pump it up. And there's a lot of air in this one here. Go ahead. I can see all that foamy fluid come through. Go ahead. Just a lot of air captured inside this here. All right, that one there is perfect. I'm going to seal this up, make sure that bleeder screw is nice and tight. Carefully remove our hose here. Once again, if you have dribbled any brake fluid here, give it a quick spray with some solvent. Give it a wipe down. And then install a rubber cap if you have it. Now that you get your cap on here, we're going to go ahead and top off the master cylinder up underneath the hood. Make sure that there's plenty of fluid in there. Then we're going to proceed to the left rear and finish up with the right front. Let's open this up. All right, let's now go ahead and continue on to the left rear and finishing up with the right front. All right. Go ahead and install your wheels. Torque down our lug nuts to 76 foot-pounds. You can go for a road test.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.